All right, welcome back to another video, Masters. If you are listening to this, you are the master of your reality. So this is going to be a crypto-only video, so just a few interesting things coming along the pipeline, and one major thing to, I guess you could say, look forward to, something interesting. We're going to be talking about the upcoming blue full moon in this video. It's going to be a blue moon. We'll get into that, why that is significant, some interesting connections there with Ripple and XRP, and then we'll finish up the video with a pretty interesting find about the riddles, the BEARABLEGUY123 original 589 prediction riddle. Something interesting that kind of jumped out to me the other day. But let's go ahead and get into the new moon. I have the XRP chart pulled up here with the moon indicators turned on, and there is an upcoming full moon coming up here on May 31st, this Sunday. So that will be this day here. So as you can see, after this last new moon, we have come down quite a bit, and we had this little, some people call it a crash, but seems like it might be recovering right now. But anyway, let's get into the whole new moon deal, because typically, as long as you can make it past a full moon, right? Full moons are usually when the crazy things will happen in the market, okay? And hopefully you understand why that is, right? You look at crime rate, you look at just people act up during full moons. There's more light in the sky, so that's affecting people's pineal glands at night and making them be more active. And when you stay up too late, bad things happen. So that's kind of the realistic logic and reasoning behind why full moons have an impact on the market. So, and you'll see this is a trend. You can go back, right? We rally up into the new moon, right? And then the market maker says, okay, we got a full moon coming up, so we'll use that to sell off our position just in case something bad happens on the new moon. That's what the market maker is doing right here. They're selling their position off, taking profit, liquidating the shorts and shorting, so that they, in case something actually happens on the new moon, usually nothing happens, but just in case something does, they'll be in a better position, right? Right. And then, after the full moon, right, usually nothing happens, then the market gets bought back up. And then into the new moon, we top out. The market and then trends down into the full moon, waiting for something to happen. Nothing happens, great. We trend back up into the new moon. All right, and then as you can see, after this recent new moon, we've trended down quite a bit this time. So hopefully nothing happens this coming full moon this Sunday. Hopefully it's just a nothing burger, as they say. But the full moon can do make people go a little loony, as they say, get some lunatics out there at night. That's why they call Luna lunatics. But anyway, we'll come back and check on this price action here in just a sec, but I wanted to go ahead and go into the significance of this coming blue moon. These only happen like once every 2 to 3 years, so it actually is kind of a rare thing. This one, again, is on May 31st, this coming Sunday, and so it's also going to be a micromoon. That's just because the moon is the furthest away from Earth in its orbit during this time, so it's going to appear a little bit smaller in the sky. But it's funny. It's funny they call it a micromoon, and that will kind of tie into my theory of what maybe might happen with maybe a nice move. Maybe we'll get a little micromoon for XRP. But yeah, and these actually happen on, this is the cycle, right? It's actually a 19-year cycle. So And the way that this 19-year cycle starts is, and we'll see this in a second, but basically you have 1 year that will have 2 blue moons in the same year. And so 2018, you can't see it because they don't include the first full blue moon of 2018, but 2018 had 2 blue moons in that same year. And so that was the beginning of this 19-year cycle. And 2037 will be the next year where we have 2 blue moons in that same year. And then we'll start over the cycle. But here's this one that's coming up now. You'll see it's the 4th blue moon of this cycle. And I want to talk about the significance of the number 4, but we'll go into that in a second. The other interesting thing that is happening on this Sunday, May 31st, is it will be a Christian holiday known as Trinity Sunday. Okay? You see, Trinity Sunday is a major Christian feast observed, basically just celebrating the Christian Trinity. Why is this significant? Okay, well, here's why this is significant. Okay? The Ripple logo is the Trinity. Okay, so there's your Trinity symbolism. It's also blue, right? That's the whole Ripple color theme is blue. So that's kind of what sparked this idea. What led me down this rabbit hole initially is, you know, the fact that, okay, well, not only is this Sunday going to be a full blue moon, but it's also Trinity Sunday. I'm not saying that, you know, anything's gonna happen. I'm just you know, laying out the key points that I think are interesting, that basically if, you know, the powers that be would want to pick a date to ritualize something big happening for XRP, what better day than to pick the blue moon on Trinity Sunday, you know? So that's kind of my logic behind that. Now, this is a very rare blue moon because it falls on a Trinity Sunday. The last blue moon that also fell on a Trinity Sunday, or I guess you could say the last Trinity Sunday that also fell on a blue moon, was also on May 31st, 1931, 95 years ago. So, you know, obviously this is not something that happens very often. I already looked, you know, at like if there was any other significant events that happened on this day or around this day, 1931. There was some interesting things, but nothing that really jumped out at me, so I'm not going to go into that. I only bring this up because, you know, it was such a long time ago that, you know, to let you guys know that when the Trinity Sunday and also the blue moon lineup is in fact a very rare, you know, astrological, calendrical alignment, I guess you could say. Now, one thing I would like to highlight though is this 31 number. All right, so 31. Now, what is interesting about the number 31? Well, all right, 31 is, you could also say, if you speak 31 out, you could also say it's 3 ones, okay? Or 1, 1, 1. Well, what's that? That's a trinity. So you have the trinity in the date numbers themselves. All right, you got 31, May 31, 1931. Now, the blue moons only happen on either a 31 date or a 30 date. Well, in numerology, you automatically remove the zeros, so there's your 3 right there. It's a trinity. So there's a lot of trinity symbolism already in the blue moons themselves. We don't have to connect it to Trinity Sunday to get a lot of trinity symbolism out of this because of this 3-1-3 connection with that. although it just so happens that this coming blue moon is also a Trinity Sunday, which the last time this happened was 95 years ago, 1931, another Trinity. So there's a lot of Trinity symbolism with this date. Now here's the date calculations. Oh, whoops. Sorry. So 1931, May 31st to this coming 31st is, here's the date in numerology. I didn't really see anything significant, but I'm just going to show you guys if any of you number nerds want to see if anything jumps out to you. Let me know in the comments, because I am also a number nerd. And then here is the gematria for, oh, did it not save? No way. All right, and then here's the gematria. Really the only, I did all these different things. The only thing I found was XRP moon and Micromoon giving you 115 in ordinal, and then XRP moon, XRP token, and Trinity Sunday giving you 38 in Chaldean. So I don't know, maybe something interesting there, but I still don't really fully get this stuff. Okay, now this is the astrology chart for this coming Sunday. I'll just brief. I'm like a beginner astrologist, I would say. So all I see is we got the sun over here, right, where most of the other celestial bodies, and then what is this? This is Pluto over here, and the moon. The moon is like, one of the only other few things over here. So it's like, it's kind of polarized, but I don't know. Maybe you astrologists can let me know if there's anything interesting in this chart that jumps out at you guys, what kind of energies we'll be dealing with. I always find that stuff interesting. But back to this 4, right? This is the 4th blue moon in this, so 4 is the portal number. So there's 4. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. All right. And then 4 is a portal. Well, I guess you could say it's the artificial, the man-made portal. All right. It's the doorway. It's the opening to a new reality created by man. So that's, that would be a number that would symbolize some kind of man-made ritual, not a natural, I guess, God-created ritual, I guess. So the doorway, you can see the window, the door, it's got 4 corners most of the time. All right, now 4, we also have the Emperor, right? This is the 4th tarot card. And then we have Death, the 13th tarot card. 1 plus 3 reduces to 4. Thought that'd be interesting. We got the skull and crossbones. But Death is also the portal. That's the portal to the next world. All right. Now we also have a lot of Trinity symbolism with this upcoming full moon. So not only we have the 4, right, the Emperor, but we also have the Empress. Okay, so this is the duality, all right, the balancing. And then we have, and the Hangman, this is the 12th card. 1 plus 2 is 3, so it goes back to the Trinity. But look at his legs. It's making like an upside down 4. Very interesting. All right, but it's really this Emperor, Empress symbolism that is grabbing my attention, because this is the same thing, but opposites in a way. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's like some XRP, XLM symbolism here. XRP representing the masculine, while XLM representing the feminine. We kind of already got this revealed to us through this movie, Disney Pixar Elemental, in 2023. This character's name was literally Wade Ripple, and this character's name was Ember Lumen. Okay, so you got Ripple and Lumen Ripple XRP, stellar lumen, you know, and they live in a city connected by bridges. It's just very interesting. But, you know, maybe we're seeing some kind of like the classic ladies first type thing happen right here. You know, we have just yesterday, the DTCC made a major announcement that they're integrating they're using Stellar tokenization of DTC custody assets on the Stellar network. All right, so maybe they're letting the ladies go first, announce the stellar lumens, so that they're saving the best for last. Ripple, XRP, you know, maybe they're also going to be using this, because this says right here, this collaboration advances DTCC's multi-chain strategy. Okay, so they're not just using Stellar. They're going to use another one, and probably XRP would be another great pick for them. You know, I know everyone's XRP army is kind of freaking out today. They think that, oh, they picked Stellar. Why didn't they pick Ripple? Well, hold on. Maybe that's what this Sunday. I don't know. Maybe we'll get something. We'll get something this Sunday. Who knows? I'm not sure. I just thought I would show these cards. I don't really have anything significant to say about them. I would just I'm just showing them because, you know, these numbers are tied in. These energies are tied in, and these energies are going to show themselves in some form. You know, it's the significance of like the degree to which these energies will show up that's the variable factor, right? But anyway, let's go into the charts, because I have mapped out pretty much all the blue moons going back from XRP's creation. So remember, XRP was created in June, I believe, of 2012. So just before this blue moon, this first one, we have the lost, right? The Genesis ledger days that were, you know, wasn't really trading yet. So we're not really sure what was happening back then. But nonetheless, there was a full moon. This was the first blue moon, you know, while XRP was in existence, or the XRP ledger, I guess. Wasn't called XRP back then. Actually, I think I'm not sure. Anyway, we have, I guess you could say this was 0, then 1, and then you have the 2. But this is a repeat of this is a starting over of the blue moon cycle. So now we have 1, 2, 3. Or I guess you could say this would be 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Depends on how you count this, right? You might choose to count this as 0. This would be 1, 2, and 3 on the Trinity. The only thing that jumps out to me is the fact that, you know, the last time we had the 2 blue moons was when, you know, XRP was, you know, near its just shortly after its massive last move. So we're now at the halfway mark of the next cycle, I guess you could say. Now, pretty much so far, everything I've gone over has been seems pretty random, right? Pretty all over the place. And it is. But I would like to just kind of briefly touch on the technicals of what XRP is actually doing in the charts, because when you look at that, and then you look at this blue moon Trinity upcoming date, it really, it can, you know, there's a picture to be seen if you're willing to see it, I guess. So 97 days, XRP has been, you know, from this low to the day it broke this higher high, but we've been making a low, a high. This was a higher low than this low. This high was a lower high than right here, and this next low it made was a higher low than its previous low, and so on. You know, we made a lower high than the previous high. Basically, it's been consolidating in this cone, tightening the range for the last, you know, 97 days. And then the first time we deviated, we broke this cone structure, was to the upside. Okay, right here, we broke this previous high. We made a higher high for the first time in 97 days. So that doesn't really tell you much, but it's possible that this was a big tell in the direction of where we're going next, because what followed this break, right? Because what happens when people see this, right? People see, okay, that's a break of the high, and that's a bullish thing whenever it breaks that high. And so people will start longing XRP right here, all right? And, you know, of course, there's been longs accumulated here, but with leverage, you know, the leverage degen traders will, you know, long up on XRP here. And it's possible that, you know, this move was correct, but then the market maker has now pushed it to the downside to collect that liquidity, you could say, to liquidate all the bulls that got trapped right here, this wick. And so now, you know, then there's also been shorting liquidity, and so now we did the opposite. Now we've been breaking. We broke this higher low, and then just last night we broke both of these prior lower lows. So this scared a lot of people, right? But now we're recovering. So that was, you know, seemed to be like a liquidity sweep right there. So we'll have to see what happens in the next few days, guys. It'll be very interesting. But when I paint the picture like that, and then you think about, okay, well, this coming Sunday is a blue moon. Okay, it's also on Trinity Sunday. Ripple's logo has the Trinity symbolism. It's a blue logo. All right, and then, you know, in crypto world, when you say to the moon, you know, that's usually what it means. But it's a micromoon. It's a micromoon. So maybe we see a micromoon for XRP. When we zoom out, let's go to the daily chart. All right. You know, we'll pull up the RSIs as well, but we're really oversold. You know, we're really oversold, and it would not be out of the cards for a rally back up to the, you know, start heading its way back up to the $2 to $3 range, right? Now, one other thing, I don't want to make this video too long, but there are a couple other interesting things I would like to point out. Now, let's see. So if we zoom out to the weekly chart now, I have an even bigger fib pulled. Let me delete this one so it doesn't look as messy. But so I have a bearish fib pulled from this low to this high, and you'll see XRP has only tapped the 0.5 fib, okay? A lot of people think it's going to go down here below $1 again. And it actually did go below $1 on some exchanges during this, the October. Yeah, the Binance Ritual, whatever, liquidation thing. That was the worst crash in crypto history. That liquidation, there was some exchanges where XRP went below $1. But, so I don't know, maybe you could say that that's already been tapped, but on the normal charts, right, that didn't have anomalies, XRP has only tapped the 0.5 fib so far. But let's look at the other major cryptos. Okay, Bitcoin from the same time period, right? You pull a bearish fib, and it has completed its move down. Sorry, this is kind of hard to see. There we go. But you'll see Bitcoin has already completed the move down to this golden pocket zone. All right, the 0.618 to the 0.786. That's the golden ratio. I call it the emerald zone. But Bitcoin's already completed that move. All right, Ethereum has already completed that move from the same time period, same-ish time period, I guess. You still pull from the low to the high, and look at Ethereum has already completed its move down to this golden ratio. The other blue chip cryptocurrencies, XLM has also completed its move down to the golden ratio, okay? HBAR, another blue chip chosen cryptocurrency, has also completed its move to the golden ratio. Now, most of the other coins, you'll see if I were to pull the same Fibonacci, they're actually lower. they're actually lower. They're weaker. Okay, the buying pressure, the demand for these other coins is not there the way that they're there for, you know, XLM, XRP, especially XRP. XRP has the most bullish chart in crypto right now. More bullish than Bitcoin, more bullish than Ethereum, more bullish than any other crypto, because there's so much buying pressure that all it needed was the 0.5 fib. Okay, it's not even down here in the golden ratio where literally every other coin is. There's so much buying pressure that is actually staying above the 0.5 fib. So, you know, there's a lot of buying pressure for XRP right now. So we're actually treating the 168 moving average as support right now. You know, so that it's very possible we could bounce from here. Let me look at XLM. So XLM's already below the 168, H-bar's below it. Bitcoin is actually holding, already bounced off the 168. I bet you Ethereum's below it. Yep, Ethereum is below the 168. So Bitcoin and XRP are the only two, you know, blue chip major coins holding the 168, but XRP is more bullish because, again, it's holding the 0.5 fib. It's holding this move, all this money that poured into it in this move right here, it's holding that money better. The whales are, you know, the money is staying in XRP better than any other token, okay? That's because it has a better long-term thesis than any other token. All right? So, but that's it for the charts. Now, let's move on to the riddle, the fun stuff, all right? So this is just a little interesting thing to look forward to, you know, later this year. Now, this was for those of you who don't know, this was like the first riddle. It was the first 589. This is where 589 comes from, okay? This is one of the first bearable guy riddles, and the first time that 589 entered the XRP lore, I guess, was with this image. And so for those of you who don't know, this is the United Nations headquarters, and there's, you know, it says 589 plus by end of year, and he basically was hyping this price prediction up, and then boom, there it is. Now, obviously this did not happen, but he's a riddler, okay? So this seems way too obvious for me. This is way too obvious for the people that fell for this. I mean, obviously, well, I get why you would fall for this back then, because it wasn't clear that he was, you know, the riddler that he is today, but Bearable Guy is a riddler, and if you don't think the riddles are significant, you know, if you don't think they're interesting or whatever, I would highly recommend that you geek out on Not Financial Advice research group. This guy, you know, it's join his Patreon. It's worth it. I mean, it's just videos after videos after videos breaking down like some of the most interesting things. Not just you know, not just Bearable Guy, but Ripple. Like, this guy dives deep. He's full-time, you know, content creator, diving deep into these riddles and XRP. I'm sure a lot of you guys would like this if you have not seen his work. But anyway, so this image, someone in Waters Above Discord the other day pointed out the fact that the Ethiopia is on a different calendrical system. So the end of the Ethiopian 2018 year, end of year 2018 in Ethiopia will be this year on September 10th, the day before 9/11. So the new year begins on 9/11. No significance there, just interesting. But the Ethiopian, okay? This is where the Ethiopian Bible comes from. Again, another, I don't know, connection here to Christianity, to Trinity Sunday, Trinity Sunday. And then here we go, okay? Look at the flag. Look at the colors. All right, we got green, red, and yellow. It's not like lime green or anything. It's, you know, it's green, red, and yellow. I mean, guys, those are the same colors. So, and Ethiopia, you know, there's a, I'm not sure what exactly happened with Ethiopia, but you look at all these flags, and I think what happened, I've heard Waters Above talk about this. I don't know if it's true, but like maybe Africa, like all these countries were once considered Ethiopia, and they've kind of gotten scattered, and they've gotten, what do you say, dispersed, right? Separated into all these separate countries. But this is the Ethiopia flag, right? And so these colors obviously are important to this region. But you can do your own research into Ethiopia. But nonetheless, this is the official, I guess this, I'm not really sure. It's kind of confusing. There's this flag, but still the main colors are the green, red, or green, yellow, red. Same colors used, deliberately chosen right here. So could Bearable Guy have been, you know, suggesting that, hey, this is the Ethiopian date I'm talking about, not our Gregorian 2018, which again would fall on September 10th, 2026. I don't really know how he could predict that far out, but you know, there's some really interesting things in the XRP community, so you never know. Oh, right, and so, you know, well, what would be the catalyst? A lot of people are, you know, a lot of longtime XRP people are fed up. And a lot of people have left you know, sold their XRP, hopefully not all of it, but sold, you know, they've given up because it's just taken too long. They don't have the patience required. And you know, because they don't understand what's going on. It's hard, you know, it's very complicated. But I think there might be an explanation, and we're going to go into that real quick before I end the video. I just want to show you guys one thing. Okay, so this video I saw the other day, and it made a lot of sense to me. I had never really thought about this, but I'll just let you listen to the video.
Ever wonder why big banks haven't really moved onto public blockchains yet? Most people assume it's just regulation, but there's also a more practical issue, and that's trade protection. On a public chain, every position is visible in real time. That means anyone can see what you're doing and trade against you. And when you're moving hundreds of millions to billions of dollars of value, full transparency can make you a target. But that's starting to change. Last week at Paris Blockchain Week, Boundless and Riddle announced zero-knowledge proofs are coming to XRP. This means that anyone can now prove a transaction is valid, funded, and compliant without ever having to reveal the amount, the sender, or the receiver. There's already 4 major global financial institutions that have signed up for this feature. This is a meaningful step toward further building financial utility on-chain.
All right, cool. So hopefully the audio was not horrible on that. But yeah, so think about it, guys. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the largest banks, the largest financial institutions in the world, the entities that move the most money in the world. Put yourself in their shoes for a second. Right now, they have a slow, inefficient system for moving money, okay? But it's private, okay? There's no way for you or me or anyone else to go in and see that data in real time. Now, what is the most important information of that data? Well, it's not the timing really. It's the value, okay? It's the actual dollar amount that's moving. Because let's say that, you know, a bank is doing hundreds of thousands of transactions a day or something, or, you know, a large financial institution. Well, not all of those transactions are going to be billions of dollars, but some of them might. Some of them are going to be billions of dollars, okay? And if you're a hedge fund or a trader or whatever, and that financial institution is moving all that money, then Because we have this new system, right? We have this new system to move money, crypto. It's an efficient means of sending value, way better than the current system. But the problem with it is everything's transparent. You can see the dollar amount on each transaction being moved, okay? So that's a problem for these banks. That's what's been keeping the big utility, the big volume out thus far, because it'd be public. And then what would happen, guys, is there would be like a hedge fund or something that would get an AI that would monitor all that data and say, oh, they just moved $1 billion to this account. That means that, it's just not good for them, because when you're moving billions of dollars, or God, even maybe trillions of dollars one day, you don't want that dollar amount public. Especially you don't want it being visible, like what wallet it's going to and that. So that's why they've stayed out so far. I mean, that just makes so much sense to me, because it's a huge risk for them having that information public on a public ledger. So that's where privacy comes in. Now, I did some research. All right, so I asked, where is the XRPL at with zero knowledge proofs? Okay, so really there's two. I mean, we have EVM contract path, but no one wants to use Ethereum. But we have native ZK verification. So this is with Boundless. This is, I guess you would, Boundless is a separate blockchain, okay? So they would have to integrate Boundless onto the XRP ledger, similar with what they've done with like Axelar, the Ethereum thing. So once they integrate Boundless, now you'll have direct access to this separate network from XRP. They'll be able to send transactions, direct them to Boundless first to, get verified on there. Then the Boundless network generates what's called a zero knowledge proof. And the zero knowledge proof is then the evidence that the transaction went through. And it works for the financial institutions, because all they need to verify is, hey, did this really go through? At what time? And, from whom to whom? I'm not exactly sure like what all is private, but Boundless is a separate network that provides the solution of hiding the dollar amounts of these transactions. Another thing that they're working on is integrating XLS-0096. This would be an update to XRP Ledger that would basically, allow, I don't know, this gets kind of complicated. MPTs, I don't know what all this is, but basically plus ZK proofs so that token transfers can prove validity without revealing amounts. But the problem with this solution is it might make XRP too slow. Okay, remember what, David Schwartz says, like, you don't want to add a bunch of features to XRP like Ethereum has, right? You don't want to make it too complicated, because then when the volume really goes up on the network, it bogs the network down. It gets too slow. You want a simple, clean, niche-focused blockchain that, is really good at one thing, and that's payments. That's, just moving money fast, securely, and efficiently. And that's what XRP is good at. And they want to keep it that way. So it would make a lot of sense why they might integrate this Boundless thing, this other blockchain. And if you want to check that out, I have already opened a small position in Boundless. The ticker is ZKC. So yeah, this is the token Boundless. Hey, I mean, it's already at a 90-something% discount. Yeah, so it's at a 93% discount. So I mean, you're getting in at a a great price for what you're getting. They've pretty much already partnered with Stellar. So this was Stellar's post about it. Privacy, please. This New York Tech Week, we're hosting an after party for the people building the future of privacy with Boundless. All right, and then if you go to Boundless's page, the thing they have pinned right now is what they're working on for XRP. So You know, maybe, just maybe, this is the thing that all the financial institutions are waiting for a solution, because they want to use XRP, right? XRP is the best blockchain out there, the most liquid for payments, for sending money currently. All right. So they want to use it, but I think the thing that's holding them back is the privacy issue. But once that gets solved, then, you know, we should be good to go. And maybe that will get solved later this year, which would, you know, possibly lead to a huge explosion, the final utility wave that we've all been speculating about, that we've all been waiting for. True price action due to utility, not due to speculation, might be the first time that happens later this year. You know, it's taken a lot longer than we thought, but, you know, we've been patient. So hopefully that patience will pay off for us. I appreciate everyone watching the video, sticking with me till the end. If you want to get in touch with me, you can join the Patreon. I also have my entire crypto portfolio in there if you want to see which coins I'm investing in, which, you know, my percentages and allocations to those. All that information is in the Discord. A bunch of great people in there as well. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are the master of your reality. God is the master of all realities. Much love, and we got this.